Hello, I'm Rachel. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm basically going to be doing a show and tell video, I guess, of all the things I've been doing the last couple weeks because I've been doing a few projects in the midst of my husband getting a cold and my son getting a cold and I got a cold, so I didn't really feel like doing a full video at the time, but I've compiled some footage together of things that I've done. And I thought that I'd go ahead and put it together for you so you guys can finally see how I finished up my dress. Oh goodness. So the first thing that I did was fix my son's horse that actually was my mom's when she was a child, and I'd already glued the tail back on and the body had been separating, so I glued the body all together. But I needed to make a new ear for this horse, and the only thing that I had around to use for this, which probably wasn't the best thing because you have to put it in a toaster oven or whatever, was some Sculpey clay, and I used like an off-brand Sculpey kind of clay thing, and so it made it a little bit more difficult to remove it and actually form it onto this horse. But that's what I did. So I put some tape down where the ear hole was, so that way my clay wasn't falling down into the horse head, which took way longer than I thought it would. It was just sticking to the horse and just not the most optimal thing, and I ended up just making it bigger than necessary, and I ended up just trimming it down with a knife, I think, afterwards, and basically shaping it myself. So since I had to trim down this ear, I also had to fill in some spots that I had to cut away a little bit too much, and so I just used some hot glue for that, and I let it cool for a second and I just smoothened it out where I needed it to be smoothened, and it actually made it to where it was kind of difficult to tell how bumpy it was just because I couldn't tell the difference between the hot glue and the poly because it was just too clear. So when I painted it, it's a little bit rougher than I would like for it to look, but overall it looks just fine. And then I went ahead and I painted some different spots on this horse to make it a little bit more color corrected, I suppose. I got some scuff marks on it and I wanted to brighten up the eyes a little bit as well. So when I get around to it, I think I'm going to go ahead and spray this with a sealer to make it to where the paint and the plastic are more of the same finish. So that was really fun. I love fixing my son's toys, and it's just something that I just really enjoy doing, and it's just kind of one of those things I do every once in a while. It's pretty much the main reason why I use my craft room, although I did make this horse in the kitchen because it's just the lighting in the kitchen is way better than my craft room, so I'm getting to where I'm hardly using my craft room at all. So I think I'm going to utilize my craft room table for a different purpose, which you'll have to see either next week or the week after whenever I get around to it. I think it's gonna be next week though, so it's gonna be pretty fun, and it's gonna be for plants. But then I went ahead and I finished my dress. I sewed up the sides, which that part was so easy, of course. It takes hardly any time to do that, but just back stitching and I stitching all the way up the sides. Then the hard part came. I have never done any like binding or whatever, these special kinds of seams, and it was actually way easier than I thought. It just has like these 3 folds. One of the sides you pin to the outside of your dress, and then you're just gonna sew that right up, and then you need to fold it back on itself so that way then you can't see it, and pin that up and then sew that up. And it was really easy. Even just sewing it itself, I thought that would be tricky, and that I thought it would go all over the place and I wouldn't have a very straight line and it would look terrible, but it was actually really easy. It's just super easy. I don't know why, but it wasn't difficult for me, and I was very glad. I mean, I did mess up. Don't get me wrong. I messed up a lot, but it was pretty darn easy. A lot easier than I thought it would be anyways. And then I went ahead and sewed up the hemline, of course, because I can't forget that, but that's not really worth mentioning, I suppose. So I have a lot of things wrong with this dress. Just put my hair over like that basically fixes all the problems. But I seriously messed up the shoulders. This is fine, it can be over this far as if it wants to, I guess, but this part needs to be up a little bit higher. So it's just, as you can see, it's just, it kind of lays weird. Just, yeah, there's a little bit of problems there. And then like the armpit line, I guess, it doesn't come out as far as it needs to. So I messed up on that as well. I actually had to redo the armholes because they were just a little bit too wonky, I guess. They're too small, and I like a lot of extra room around my arms. I don't like feeling constrained by my clothing when it comes to my arm movements, like, at all. Anyway, so it's a little bunchy and wrinkly, but I am happy with the pleat. I did accidentally do this backwards, and then I fixed it, and it's a little uneven, but it's not that bad, you know. This is the first time I've ever made a dress, by the way, so for my first attempt, and I've never ever done binding, so I feel like this was a really good project to do for someone like me that has sewing experience, but not in this way. I've never done a top. I always just do skirts. I've made some shorts that are like, you know, more like pajama kind of shorts, and I've made pillows. This is the only part that I really messed up on because, yeah, I just didn't get it quite right for some reason, and so there's all these loose threads, and so that's the only part, and unfortunately it's in a part that's actually fairly noticeable. I could turn it around and have this part be the front, but I really like the back like this and then the front like this. I like it this way. So I am going to save this dress. I doubt I'm going to actually be wearing it, but I mean, I could wear it around the house or whatever. It's just this fabric. It's a very thin material and it might be a little bit see-through, so I'm not gonna wear it out in public, but you know, around the house it's fine, and it's really comfortable for being a really cheap cotton material. Like, I can even like put my knees up and jump around, so it'll be just fine for playing out in the yard, even because it's a nice good length. It's pretty much a perfect length. It's right to the top of my knees, and it's wide enough. I was really surprised. I thought that I would have messed up the width a little bit too much, because then I realized I had to make it even shorter than I had it. I definitely had to cut this dress shorter more than once, and yeah, it ended up being perfect, honestly, and the width was perfect too. And so next time when I make this, I can make it a little wider on the bottom if I want to, because I want to make it out of a really flowy, nice linen kind of material instead of something that's more stiff like this cotton. So anyways, this was a really good learning experience and I definitely recommend it. But I did have to watch some other YouTube videos to learn how to do these parts with the, it says binding or whatever, which this one I messed up right there. Oh well. Anyways, lots of flaws, but I was so amazed at actually how easy it was to do the neckline and the shoulders, or the arms, which the armholes were harder than the neckline because it's a continuous loop-de-loop, whereas I feel like having this V in the back, that actually made it easier. And what I did was I looked up how to do this sort of thing with a V-neck and for just this kind of a neck, and I kind of combined them together because I felt like the instructions on the workshop wasn't quite good enough for someone like me who's never done that before. So yeah, that's my dress. Let me know what you guys think, I guess, on my first attempt. I feel like it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, and as long as my hair is over my shoulders, you know, you just don't even see all the flaws. It's great. I have been watercoloring a lot. I got out my watercolors this last week and I haven't been able to stop. I have done so many. Just in a coloring book, it's a watercolor coloring book. I'll put a link in the description box for the second one of it. The first one is at Hobby Lobby, but the second one is on Amazon, so that way you can find it. And the second one has a lot more to it. I really like the simplicity of the first one because I just do. There's not a lot to the backgrounds, which I like. I can be more creative with the background if I want to. But it looks super fun. I'd really like to try it. I want to finish the first one first. One thing that I've learned though this week is that I don't like drawing people. I used to love drawing people and that was all I did until, well, not all I did. I drew all sorts of things until I discovered like coloring books for adults, and then I just was coloring all the time because that's my favorite part of drawing. The only reason why I would draw was to color it in, and so now I just color everything, and I have discovered that I don't like drawing people at all because I thought, well, there's not that many of these kinds of coloring books. Like this lady pretty much has like the only one that I've been able to find so far. And I mean, it's hard to find coloring books of people in general. I just love doing the shading and stuff. Something about it's just super fun for me. So I thought I'd try drawing people again, and I just like, this is just not for me. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. And so that idea is out the window. I thought it'd be so great. I could have these uploaded as like a PDF kind of thing on my blog so you guys could download them for free and watercolor them yourself. But no, I just couldn't do it. It was not fun enough. But I did go ahead and keep watercoloring because it's so much fun. I do like doing flowers. When I watercolor outside of a coloring book, it's just flowers primarily, and it's free-handed because that's the only way that I like to watercolor other than in a coloring book. But the coloring book is just so much fun. I love using my watercolor pencils. And so you'll see in this clip of me using my watercolor pencils and my pan watercolors for the flowers. I use the watercolor pencils for the people because I just love doing the skin tones and just everything with it. I love how I can just scribble it on all over the place and then use the brush to move the paint around and push it where I want it to go. And it's just so fun. I'm thinking that I'm going to start doing time lapses that are separate from my normal videos, so they will just be bonus videos for you if you like watching art time lapses, but they'll just be me coloring in coloring books and watercoloring. So if you like those kinds of videos, then I will have some bonus content for you whenever I get around to putting it up. And I might end up putting them on Instagram. I'm not entirely sure, like really shortened condensed versions of them. I'll have them a little bit less condensed for my YouTube channel, and then on Instagram I'll speed them up really fast and put them on Instagram. I think might be something fun to do. This watercolor was so much fun. I love how she turned out. I feel like she's very vintage. Just reminds me of old portraits that were black and white and then filled in with color. I just love how she turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it fun or something. And if you liked it, please do let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what kinds of videos you are wanting to watch more right now. We are working on our chicken coop and doing things in our backyard, but our backyard is very messy, and so you will not have any videos about that until we are closer to being done, because oh man, there's a lot of work to do back there, and it's just, quite frankly, a lot of junk from building things. There's lots of building materials and nobody really wants to see that. So anyways, we're going to be having more gardening videos, and also I am thinking about doing more home craft videos because a lot of people are home and wanting to know how to do things. So I mean, that's my whole thing about being like a urban homesteader farmer kind of person, is I want to know how to do things. That's why I made a dress. I love knowing how to do things and knowing what other people have to do to make a product that I have, you know, or that I buy. I want to know how to make it. So like making soap is kind of fun, and I'm not going to do that though. That's not something I feel like doing right now. But I'm going to be making some candles, and I'm going to I'm actually working on a sourdough fermentation. My cousin encouraged me that you can make it when it's cold outside, and that she thinks it works better, and it's been working so great. So gonna be doing some sourdough things and also just other kinds of stuff. So if you're looking for anything to do though, I have a couple playlists of just like home projects and also like natural beauty DIYs. I have a lot of those on some really fun kinds of bath salts and things to make. So if that's interesting to you, I will put both of those playlists in the description box and in the iCard, so that way you can watch those and find some inspiration for something fun to do. Like these one bath salts is basically Epsom salt and body wash or a bubble bath, and it makes these bubbly bath salts. They're just so much fun. And I have all sorts of other kinds of things too, like homemade shampoos and you know, whatnot. So that was before I got way deep into plants and everybody wanted to see plants. So that's what we're working back towards, is the reason why I started this channel, which was teaching people how to make stuff, I think. So I hope you have a really great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!